So we at Albright have decided to put a garden in. The discussion of the garden had been around for a while. It really just sort of finally coalesced this year with a dedicated group of students who were very interested, the environmental club coming on board, as well as my interest in it. The idea just really sort of came together with some funding from various sources. SGA, the Student Government Association, provided some funding. The provost, the vice president for students, the dean of students provided some funding. And so there's really a lot of support out there for it. And I think it just finally decided to come about this year. And first of all, I think I teach, for instance, in my environmental sociology class about some of the dangers of the industrial food system. The industrial food system does wonders for producing mass amounts of food for large quantities of people, but there are problems with it, and so I don't shy away from discussing those problems in my courses. And so this is one way to show students that there are alternatives to that model. And so I think that's, for me personally, for my class, that's important for me to be able to bring my students out here and show them a different way of growing food. And also I think it's important for connecting to the food that we eat. Understanding where it comes from. It's not just going to the grocery store and grabbing a box of processed food off the shelf. The food is actually grown here on campus, and they can actually see the entire process from beginning to end, as well as, of course, soil chemistry. They're learning a little bit about composting and about the correct proportions to do that in terms of carbon and nitrogen and getting those proportions correct.
Permaculture is actually a conjunction of permanent agriculture. It's a very sustainable concept in terms of planting and agriculture. So whereas you have industrial agriculture where you have monocropping and things are very linear in nature, this is all meant to maximize your planting space, and it's very sustainable. So everything you see behind us is sheet mulch, which means that you have base layers that they meet up to a certain carbon to nitrogen ratio that effectively build soil. That's one of the main things about permaculture, is that you're building soil rather than destroying soil with tilling and fertilizer and all that sort of thing, which runs off into the storm drain over there. This, you're actually taking all of the waste, building soil, and it's all very nutritious and all natural. This morning we built a tent because we were expecting a lot of rain. That didn't actually happen, thank God. But we did that. We set up a nice volunteer list to make sure that we could have student workers over the summer, perhaps. After we did that, we basically, earlier this week, we spray painted the polygons of the shape of the garden. Today, we actually cut out cardboard in the shape to kind of use as a weed barrier. We did that this morning. The volunteers came, and then we started sheet mulching. So the ground level, you started out with a pitchfork, and we had volunteers just aerate the soil naturally. That's the most destructive thing that we've done to the soil. That's the only destructive thing we will do to the soil, is aerate it. After you aerate it, we put a small layer of horse manure down, and that's to bring the worms up into the new soil that's being built. And then you have a weed killing layer, which was our cardboard. After the cardboard, you put another layer of horse manure, which is more nitrogen. And then slowly but surely you have 2 layers of leaf clippings, 2 layers of mushroom soil, then you go to compost, back to mushroom soil, another layer of grass clippings, and then as you can see we kind of mounded it up with another layer of mushroom soil to kind of make it more cohesive. And the blanket, if you will, is actually the straw at the end, and that's going to help it cook and actually decompose as time goes on. The next step is that you actually have, nature take its course. This is going to sit here probably for about a month and a half. We're looking to plant in late April. We're buying seedlings. We're going to start seedlings actually in the back greenhouse, which is really exciting. And this will have a month and a half to really decompose and turn into an even more nutritious compost for the new seedlings that we're going to plant. Vegetables, we're going to have perennials that are going to bring in pollinators, perennials that are going to detract groundhogs and other, undesired animals for the garden. So it's all part of the system here. We actually have a couple ideas to finish and use the vegetables for. First, we're looking to partner up with 13th and Union, which is an elementary school right across the street. They're actually building their own garden there, and we're looking to have elementary school students come over and help us plant and then harvest the vegetables. It'd be a great experiential learning opportunity for students. And then we're also exploring options perhaps that they could sell the vegetables. and then we could split profits to maintain both of our gardens to buy new materials for next season's growing season. So really it's sustainable in nature, it's self-sustaining in terms of selling produce. Also, I'm sure students could take their own crops home come fall and use it for their families as well.